Had a good one yesterday, but that failed. Hey everyone. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to start the printing process of the Open RC project. As you can see, I got tons of little pieces here already printed. So that's what you'll see here next. And okay, what you see in here is the actual print process of printing all the pieces. Some of them I failed, some of them I had reprinted, some of them I addressed. I ordered the pieces that I needed, the electronics off of Amazon. Not using the same components that they use in the Open F1 series, RC series. I'm using similar parts, obviously. It was just easier for me to source them on Amazon than down on a website, create a login and all that. So with that said, the engine I picked is a smaller engine than what they're recommending. And this is where I'm going to run into my first problem. So yeah, let's talk about that as soon as we're done printing everything. Okay, jumping into Fusion here. Unfortunately, like I said, the engine I chose was a smaller engine, so it does not match up with the engine mount that they have. This is where one of my first frustrations with this project is going to come into play. I wouldn't say frustration, but concern. So the engine I have is a bit smaller. It doesn't fit their configured mount. So what I'm doing here is building the engine, so I have a reference point to work from. Obviously, this is just a mock-up. It's not critical, but it is important that I have a good reference to work from. So as that goes, now I'm bringing in the component that I need to redesign in, and I'm going to end up having to recreate this piece to get everything lined up. My concern here is that they don't have any source files to work with this to make these adjustments. The concern will end up being is the axle lined up straight or not? That's my only issue here. The only thing I can do is live with it and go with what I got, and that's what I'm going to do. Luckily, in the end result of this, everything came out perfect after the second round. I got the hole for the axle lined up pretty nicely right off the bat. That didn't look like there was much of an issue there. Obviously, it's hard to tell either way if you're very little off or not. And we'll just live with what we got. Then the next issue that I have is how to set up the motor mount to work with the components that I have. So we'll let that run, and I'll go over the end results of this part at the end of this part of the video. Now that we have our car printed, everything printed, and let's take a good look at everything here. So everything looks pretty good printed here. We've got the cover. I already put the camera thing, whatever they call it, on top, which just slides in and locks into place, which is nice. So I don't want to fiddle with that because you don't want the plastic wearing down. Now, the components I chose, we'll look at that in a second. So pieces look good. I used a raft, so I sanded all the roughness down, as you can see there. On those, that's the nose piece. Now, I ran out of screws, so I'm waiting on some more screws. So I have some temporary screws in some parts and areas and not others. So let's move all these components out of the way, and we'll take a look at some electronics that I've got. And we'll take a look at that motor mount while we're at it. Alright, so these are all the pieces. They're shifted out of the way. Alright, so this is where we're at on the build. I've got a temporary screw in both the back wheels. Got only one done in the front because I have temporary screws here and at the bottom. And if I try putting the wheel on, it won't fit properly. Alright, now if we look at the engine here, they really didn't design enough space to work with different engines. I'm going to run into a little bit of a tight space here with this particular engine. So I might readjust how I have the engine placed in, because having this far back here hitting the wall is not the best thing to do. Alright, so I'm using a smaller engine than what they particularly use. Some people might actually want this. Like if they're making this for their kid or something, they want the most powerful thing that they can get their hands on. Alright, so with that said, let's take a look at the other part that I ended up redoing. I redid the gear. I ended up putting it upside down. I was having problems, so I clipped some of that off so the wheel wouldn't be in the way. Things that I had to pay attention to was this curve up here, and making sure that the screws stay flush with that so nothing interacts or gets in the way of each other. Alright, so that's the engine. I'll give you an idea of what it is when I get in the description. It's a brushless DC motor. Put the wheel so it doesn't fall. This is the controller that it came with. Alright, so we've got a T connection for the battery, our standard servo connection, and 3 wires going to the motor. The other thing that I picked up to go with that, just in case I needed to, was, hold on, I buried it with the parts to the car, is this little programming controller. This little thing to control, what am I saying? This little guy to program the controller here. So we'll open that up, take a quick look. So basically, from what I can tell, you got a few buttons here. This guy plugs into our friend here. You just got to make sure everything lines up properly. And yeah, that should fit, but apparently it does not. Interesting. You'd think that, considering that's supposed to be a standard fit, that would work fine. Whatever. I'll take a closer look at that later. Then the battery I picked up was this little guy here, because anything bigger was going to be really tough to fit into the car itself. It's a 2200 milliamp hour 2-cell battery. It's got the T connection, so I don't have to worry about adapters. I'm waiting on the servo and the controller and more screws. And once I have all those, I should be able to do that. And comparison, actually, while we're at it, I originally picked up this big beast of a battery, and that was my mistake, that it doesn't fit. It's not going to fit into the car, so I ended up purchasing this little guy. I'll save that for another project. Now, to charge everything up, I picked up this guy here, the TB6B. I don't know how good it is. I've not used any of these since I was a kid, and they weren't this fancy. So let's move the car out of the way, and we'll take a quick look at the charger. Excuse my chair. Excuse all my little parts and bits and pieces for the car. Alright, so we'll take a look at it. I haven't really opened this. I haven't really looked at much of it. Having trouble. I guess it's a card for instructions or manual. And this is probably a quick start guide, informational thing. Alright, let's take a look and see what we got. The device itself. If I can get it out. Okay. Ooh, shiny. Let's peel this off. I guess, again, you have your settings to control. I don't know how complicated that is. So everything's color marked, which is good. I don't know what that's for. I don't know what those are. I don't know what those are for yet. And power. Oh, that's your power. Like I said, I've not used one of these guys, so I haven't explored anything into it. Let's see what else is in the box before we get going. Get rid of that. Okay. Now we're gonna make a mess of things. Sorry. All right. So that's the power brick. That's fine. Pretty standard stuff. Do that. Move this stuff over here so I can find it later. And then we have all these wires, apparently. So let's pull this out. Get rid of that. Hopefully it has what I need. Interesting. So we have this little adapter board for, I guess, different plug styles for charging, is what I'm assuming. Gator clips. That's interesting. Probably has some use. That goes with that guy, so whatever. And I don't actually see, oh no, I don't see a T connection. Then we have this monstrosity to address a variety of charging types, but I don't see a T connection, unless that's this. Oh, there it is. It had a little cap. Alright, cool. So I guess all we do here is plug this stuff in on the side here. Cool. And I guess this would normally go here if you need it. Again, I have no clue what that's used for, so don't ask me. Oh, that's interesting. So apparently, and I don't know why that is designed that way. This, let me undo this. Why would you want this to plug into mains? See, this is designed to go right here, and then you can clip it into a main power. Why would you want that? Especially when they're providing you with a nice quality brick like this. So most likely I won't be using that. And as far as the adapter goes, I'm not going to need that, so I'm not going to even worry about it. But I'm not going to come out. Alright, so that's my charger that I've got for this. All I'm waiting on is the controller, screws, and the servos. Once I have all that, we'll have the thing put together, and then we'll be able to test everything. Alright, and with those thoughts, we will, well, I guess we're starting the race. And it's going to take me probably another month to have everything together. Yeah, which is awesome. But that's the reality of it.